me. Okay. Peaceful greetings, all. Today, at this moment, we're going to go over, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down and explain exactly what process, if you will, I utilize to uh, gain my passport or my national citizenship, right? And I'm not saying that this is the only way, right? Because I do realize that other people have gone about these processes and procedures in a different manner, and they have, I guess, obtained to their satisfaction. I guess we could say the status that they desire, right? Where is my top? All right. So this is what So when I filled out the DS-11 form, all right. When I filled out the DS-11 form, it was the understanding that I had that I had to in some way pledge national allegiance to my state, and that the DS-11 form in and of itself doesn't do that. Okay? And there we go. As well, the information that I had studied, which is why I compiled it in this book, the information that I had studied had basically given me all that I need to know. So I'm going to write down exactly what it is that I myself utilize, and then we're going to go over it, right? And then if it is applicable according to your faith or your religious, application, then so be it. The first thing that Moorish Americans are told is that they are Muslim. So what I wrote was, I put my heading was National Declaration. And mind you, this was not typed out. Oh, that's so small. Well, I'll bring it up once it's all written, right? What was I just saying? Anywho, so the first thing that we learn is that this is what I'm telling them, because this is my affidavit, okay? And understand that an affidavit is not asking anyone for anything, okay? An affidavit is an expression of one's truth entered or pressed into the record, okay? That is what an affidavit is. An affidavit is your word and your bond. You heard? Okay. Let me cover up a little bit here. All right. All right, here we go. The first truth that I expressed here, we're gonna do it like this, because I don't necessarily need to be in the. Come on, what's going on? All right, here we go. First thing I declared is that I am a Muslim. Right now, I've been telling you all, those who have caught on and those who have watched the videos on YouTube, that Muslim is the equivalent of creditor. Okay? So the very first thing is that I express my commercial status. Muslim means white. Okay? The next thing I expressed, the next thing that I express is that my nationality is Moorish American. Okay? And what is meant by Moorish American? Moorish doesn't mean born in Morocco. It does not mean that at all. Moorish American means that my ancestors, who were Muslim, right, came to America pre-Columbian era and inhabited the land, settled the land, and established themselves as states here in America. And I am the posterity of those peoples. And so I am Moorish American because I am a descendant of Moroccans and born in America, not in Morocco. This is for all of those confused Moors who keep saying that America is Morocco. We are descendants of Moroccans born in America. Okay? Okay. So again, this is saying that I'm Muslim. Moorish American is just treating to the fact that I am of an Islamic or a private, peaceful nature. Okay. The next thing, I stated that my religion is Islamism. Okay. So Islam is the religion, is the faith. The ism is the doctrine. Okay. So the Islam that I practice has 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, which in the business world equate to principle or exclusive equity, ownership. Okay. Ownership of the estates. Okay. Your religion, the first 3 things that I stated are of religious nature. Your religion sets your commercial status. And again, take a look at the SF 181 form and understand that every nation under white prior to 1492 was under Islamic or creditor, peaceful rule. Okay. Hmm. Religious means ecclesiastic as well. So ecclesiastic means sovereign authority. Okay. Hmm. Okay. My national order, right? So it's my fraternal order. National organization is fraternal order or family business. Okay. So my national organization's affidavit of religious organization. So this is saying this exists. Has been filed in the county of Cook, recorder's office, Chicago, Illinois. And the affidavit was filed as a 1099. And here's the file number, which means it's the trust number, right? Or the EIN, if you will, 10105905, right? So now this affidavit that I'm speaking about was filed in 1928, before the New Deal. Okay, it was before the bankruptcy, if you will. And so this is establishing my fraternal order. Okay, this is establishing the perpetuity, the consistent nature of my ancestral organization, right? Christianity can be utilized if there's, a filing, right? If you're part of the Freemasons, right, you can use that organization for yourself. If you're a Shriner, you can utilize that. Um, just to give you a mindset of how this also operates, the Fraternal Order of Police is a national organization. They have their own filing as well, right? Because national organization equates to a fraternal order, not the boogie woogie secrecy stuff. It's not secret, it is sacred, okay? Or it should be in its true nature, right? I said that all members are required to annex the El Bay or Ali to their Christian names. And then I have, because these are things that I also gave as well. I said, see attached House Resolution 75. All right. Now, if you're familiar with the House Resolution 75, the Senate acknowledges the Moorish Americans as Moroccans finding themselves homes here in the Americas. And it acknowledges their ancient practice of utilizing their titles of nobility Okay. The reason this is on here is because most people are caught up. The I guess the Secretary of not the Secretary of State, excuse me, the Department of State, um, they follow procedure, right? So it's not like they're attempting to be, facetious, but some people take it that way. They are taught that you are not permitted to. Uh, okay, let me rephrase that. You are asserting your religious freedoms here, and so they cannot deny you your religious freedom. So if you've ever went to get a passport and you wear glasses, they'll tell you can't wear glasses in your photo unless you have like a doctor's note. Right? Basically, what they're saying is, if they are prescription, they cannot deny you your right to see. Obviously, right? It is the same with your religious titles of nobility. Okay, because some people are being deterred. They're saying you've had a name change or correction. There is no name change. There is no name correction. There is. Remember, I've taught in the past. Islam means creditor, and Christian means debtor. You have annexed. You have brought your debtor person, excuse me, and your creditor person in union. Okay. So, because a lot of people are being, turned around and saying, well, if you don't have a name change or a legal name change, you can't do this. Well, that is the purpose of sending them. You're basically doing the work for them so that they don't, you're showing your competence. So you would send them, you would give them a copy of this House Resolution 75, to show that this is not only lawful, this is legal, right? You've never changed your name. You did not change your good name, your God name, or your Christian name. You have merely annexed your religious title or your national title so that it expresses your religious freedoms in reality. Okay? All members are required to annex, right? Also, to wear turban, neem, fez, uh, feather crown, niqab, crescent, moon, and star, pin, right? Uh, it's in my hand. Logos, circle, 7, emblem, and then all things Moorish. Okay. All things Moorish. What does that mean? Again, I told you that Moorish means Muslim. It means creditor. All right. Excuse me. There is no distinction. They're the same, right? Moorish, more means love, right? Ish means man, right? So all things Moorish. So that could be the kufiya. That could be the khimar. That could be the jalabiya, right? That could be the shamach, right? Whatever is Islamic in nature, we are required. And again, you'll find this information in that literature that I've presented, as well as the photos during the times of this movement's inception. You will see the people wearing certain things, and you will understand, did I put it up there? Look, I didn't even, oh, yes, I did. I put, such as the fez, or you'll see the crescent moon and star pin, right? up here on the sister's turban, or you might see it on the lapel pin. We're also required to wear the Moroccan flag and the American flag. So if you have a pendulum, a lapel pin that has both, right, that is all fine. So all members are required to wear turban, neem, fez, feather crown, the cap, crescent moon, star, logo, circle, seven emblem, and all things Moorish. And again, this is an affidavit. You're not asking them, you are reminding them of your religious freedoms that you are enforcing. Because again, there are people who are being turned away by, from using their, wearing their fez or their turban, and they're, it just from my observation, these people who are being turned away do not know how to exercise appropriately their religious freedoms. And so they get mad and discouraged, No, you have to know it and you have to be able to express it and explain it in a peaceful manner because this is not personal. This is strictly business. Okay. And then the phrase that pays. The phrase that pays. I am a free national citizen of this free national republic of the United States of America. Okay? Why did I emphasize this? Because what you are saying to them is that, like me filling out my department, my DS-11 form, I'm filling it out with Pennsylvania's department. And so I'm saying, this statement is saying that I am a Pennsylvania citizen and an American. I am a free means sovereign. National means statesman. So I am a sovereign state citizen. All right, but we don't utilize sovereign state citizen as a term because we see how disheartening um, or how what's the word I'm looking for here? We're aware that when you hear sovereign and citizen, most people don't even hear what's in the middle, right? And this whole idea of sovereign citizenship, I understand sovereign citizenship, all right, but being a sovereign citizen, right? So when they hear sovereign and then they hear citizen, they're immediately trying to say that you are outside of the law, right? And so this was the phrase that was used back in the early 1900s, free national citizen. All right. And then I had a place to sign it and a place to date it. And I actually had mine's done at the post office, right? And so I presented these things to these people along with my DS-11 form, right? Because I walked in there. Because I walked in there with my fez on, okay? And I had my black fez on, but nonetheless, I had a fez on, right? And the lady said, well, you can't wear that. And so I showed her on my affidavit, right, that I'm required. I am required. This identifies me culturally. This is a cultural attire. Okay. And so I showed her, this, all members of this national organization, which has been filed in the Cook County records, right? So it it is incorporated into the United States, all members are required to wear either the turban, the fez, etc. And she says, oh, okay. So I was able to take my picture with my fez on, right? And then this is the first step, right? I want to point something out as well. When I received my passport, I used identification that was issued by what's called RV Bay Publications. Okay, I'm not going to tell you to or not to do so, right? I also had to express to them that I'm a student. I had their student ID. RV Bay is a legally lawfully chartered, I guess, an incorporate. It's a publishing company, and it's a school. It's a university, so it is a legitimate student ID. As well, I had an allodial identification card, and the reason why I utilized these things is because I did not desire at the time to use the state ID. It wasn't until afterwards that I had received everything that I, realized how people can use their state IDs and their student ID, right, to gain their passports or their national IDs, right? So I had also stated that my allodial national identification card and student identification card are legitimate identification according to the United States Department of Justice Criminal Resource Manual 1508, specifically mentioned identification documents. That's Title 18, subsection 1028. Okay, so I let them know that as well, right? Because they were attempting to deny me, right? But again, obviously, apparently, I've received these things because I was clear. I understood what I was doing, and so I was able to perfect my claim, right? Now I tell people it's going to cost you about $100 if you desire to get these identification cards. Okay. I do not personally. I don't place my trust in them. Okay. But if you wish to, do it as I've done, because I can't sit here and act like it doesn't work because I utilize it. You see what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But what's it say? From the east traveling farther east. Nah, absolutely. All right. So another thing. So once you send this information out, right? They also tell you the U.S. State Department. They also tell you something to the effect of um, I think I already spoke about it. They try to tell you that you changed the name. Yeah, I spoke about that. All right, so when you send this information out, okay, that's what it was. They'll try to attempt to tell you that you need to have evidence or proof that you've utilized this name. Right? This is the name I was born with. Okay? Prince, noble, son of the beloved, most high. Anywho, they tell you that this is some type of name change or correction. And you will also find scrupulous Moors with their cunning. tried to tell you or tried to convince you that Moors don't have names, they have titles. This is not something that Drew presented, right? So what I'm getting at though is that they'll try to tell you that because this name with title is different from this name, which is on the birth certificate, they'll say you need proof that you've changed your name. And so again, you have to express to them, you've never changed your name. All you did was annex a title. This is the title of God. I come in the name of the Father. You heard me? All right. So they'll say, hey, look, you have to show evidence or proof that you've used this for at least 5 years or more. I personally have used this name since 2013. I've written it on everything. I've always exercised it, and another thing, you have Moors who will do something, I'll just use it as a reference, right? Their name will be, we'll use my name, right? They'll do something like, right? And so now they don't wish to be identified, right? Or some of them go way off the roof, right? And they'll have something like, you know, uh, something like this, right? I'm in Hotep Ra. I'm in the Ra in Hotep El Bay, right? This is nasty work. This is nasty work, right? Let me explain to you. On my birth certificate, which is my U.S. citizen, right? It's the stateless citizen that was issued to me by my state, right? This is the security, right? This is the name that was given to me. All right. So now, when I'm going and I'm securing my estate through this DS11 form, right? And I write Eugene Davis L. They can see that the names basically the names are the same, right? And that the only addition is that this is religious title. This is like when Muhammad Ali was like, they kept calling the brother Cassius Marcellus Clay, and he's like, Muhammad Ali, man, right? Call me by my Muslim name, right? Now, when you go out and you change all of this to something like this, and then the individual officer, they're reviewing your application, they're looking for the rest of this. Where is this at? It's not there. So they'll ask you something. And the same with this, right? This ain't even on your mark. This is not your name. Unless you were born with this name, this is not your name, right? And just to point this out, there is nowhere, there is no necessity, right, to have a double title, God, God. These are not tribal titles, okay? They each mean God. El, Bey, Al, Dey, Ali, Pasha, Maharaja, right? Effendi, right? All of these are titles of God, of your godhood. And remember that God is your state, so it is your statehood. All right? This is the creditor title. There is no need to place two titles on it. This is just something that has been made up, right? But what I'm getting at is, if you've changed the name that's on the birth certificate, but you haven't had a legal name change, so now they're looking and they're like, well, this name doesn't look like this name. And so they'll ask you for additional information, right? Because you're making a claim. You're making a claim to a vast estate, right? They need authorization. They need validation. They need verification. The same things that you require in court. And so I've witnessed people attempt to argue or downplay or disrespect or disregard the U.S. Department of State. Or they'll even go so far as to say, yeah, man, they're trying to hinder us. No, they're not. Drew Ali told you don't get rid of your names. But to annex your title, Drew Ali said, leave all old business as it is and do all new business in your free national name. Right? So again, when they're looking at this application, right, and your name is Brandon Eugene Davis, right, but you filled out the DS-11 form as Amin Ra Imhotep El Bay down the street, up the corner, around the bend to the. All they're asking for is verification. They're not hindering you. You're hindering yourself because this is not the doctrine. This is not what Noble Drew Ali was teaching whatsoever. Okay, but you do have a right to use your name in commerce, whatever name you choose, so long as it is not being done fraudulently. In my opinion, this is fraudulent. This is fraudulent because you're not known anywhere else by this, unless you're out there like I was doing, right? Putting Brandon Davis L, signing in on anything and everything, right? I desire to show y'all my state ID, but I know how TikTok gets when you show certain information, right? On my state ID, the name is Brandon Eugene Davis, but it is signed. It is actually signed like this. Brandon Eugene Davis L. That's the signature on the ID because the state citizen, the secured citizen, verified the stateless account, right? So there is no need, unless you literally physically actually change it, right? Because for whatever reason, you may desire to be called by a different name, unless you've had a legal name change. And the only reason that I could see why you would do that again is because you don't like the name that you were given, right? If you have a legal name change, that's the name that you use. I'm going to instruct and inform all of my Moorish Americans that when you have children, do not give them their title on the birth certificate, right? Get the birth certificate. Why? Because the birth certificate is the security instrument that is issued to you. This is the estate issued to you by God. God is your state. God means ruler. This is your ruler. You see what I'm saying? So you would name your child first, middle, last, and then you would fill out the passport, right? And you would annex that title because this distinguishes the two citizens. Okay, one is stateless, right? And one is a part of the state. They cancel they harmonize, right? They create harmony, right? They meet on the plane of inertia where things are not moving. They are one, they are sound. It is a firm and solid foundation, right? You're unifying them, okay? So all of this extra stuff right here, all of this extra shit is unnecessary. Let me give you an example, a true example that I know for sure. I know a sister whose name, she was born Rosemary Quarles, right? And she's taken the title of Bay, right? So she's a Bay. That's cool. But most of you know her, if you know at all, as Rasmariah V. Bay. This name is not this name. This is the name that she's supposed to secure and place the bay to it, but she's clandestine. This is Taj is another one. Okay, they are using names, and mind you, she has the right to do this. You see what I'm saying? She has the right to do this. You have the right to do that, right? We know her as Ras Mariah Bay, right? But Ras Mariah Bay is not. She's not with the Republic. No matter how much they tell you they're with the Republic, if they don't have one, they're not with the Republic. Okay? That's just showing you that there are some people out. Man, this shit is hot, boy. There are some people out there who are utilizing what I would consider their own doctrines, okay? Okay? Here's another one, right? There's a brother known as Kevin McLatchie, right? And he would be Kevin McLatchie L because he's an L. But most of y'all know him as Kudra Adwell. They have the right to use these names, but they can't be sitting here telling you that this is the one and only way, and that this is not what Drew Ali. Mind you, they don't have passports that say this. As a matter of fact, I'll show you what they have briefly. All right, that's where is that at? Where would I have placed that? Give me 1 minute, 1 moment, class, to find. There it is. My security box. What I got in there? Things that need to be secured. You dig? No. Okay, so it's not in here. So anywho, right, because I don't wish to dwell on this. Okay, so I'm not. Get one last look. No. All right, so maybe at another time. Maybe at another time I'll show y'all. But I'm gonna see if I can get away with this. All right. Hopefully. You see how I told you my signature, even though that's not the name is without my title, right? I thought that I had exactly what it is that I'm looking for here. So they use their own, and it's good to see that they've created, their own instruments and that they're operating, off the national principles, right? But again, I remind you that Drew Ali told us that everything that we needed was already within the United States of America government, and so there was no real necessity at this time to go around creating other things, you know. But anywho, uh, again, like I made mention of in the beginning, um, RV Bay offers an allodial national ID. They offer a traveler's ID, and they offer a student ID. And I'm going to tell you that the only one that is valid is the student ID. Their allodial ID, I'm just going to go into this briefly. Their allodial national ID identifies you as identified. Okay, a little better. They identify you as a Native American. Native Americans will tell you off rip they're not Muslim. They'll tell you we're not Muslim, even though I know they are. Whatever, case may be, whatever. Right? So it identifies you as a Native American. Here's another word: Aboriginal. These are not words that are necessary to be used, and these are not classifications of. These are not indicators. These are not indicative of any North African, European, or Asian in America. The Afro-Eurasiatics or the Afro-Asiatics, because if you understand geography, Europe is an extension of Asia and an extension of Africa. It's not its own. It's not. It's not an independent landmass. So the Afro-Asiatics or the Afro-Eurasiatics have the white status, not the Native Americans and not Aboriginals, right? And then just to go a little further and show you what's going on, even though I use these, mind you, I use these IDs, but I declared something on my affidavit. And what I declared on my affidavit trumped anything else, right? I declared myself as a Muslim, which means white, right? Um, AA222141, right? I used to be an advocator for this information, right? Until I did some more research, because that's just what I do. I do research. And things were made more clear to myself, right? And so I realized that this ID is for Negro Masons identifying as Native Americans. Negro Masons, black Masons. This is the identification of a black Mason. What did Drew tell us we were not? Blacks, Negroes, colors. Right? He told us that. Right? This AA 222141, which was issued by, it's all in the names. Y'all got to understand. By C.M. Bay. Right? C.M. Bay calls himself a Moorish master Mason, right? And Masons, a Mason is a widow's son. Okay? So Drew Ali already expressed that we don't deal with Masons, if you read the literature, right? He said that we are to set up our shop because national order or fraternal order, it all follows the same thing. So he was like, have your meetings on the second floor like the Masons. But he also informed us that it would be the Negro Masons, or he called the Asiatic Masons, who would be the last to come to the truth. Right? So now we have Master Masons and they say widow's son, right? But in our literature, in the very first chapter of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, this is what we learn. Allah is the husbandman. So if you're the son of a widow, then Allah is not your ruler. They say that Ma son means mother and son. It's a beautiful understanding. It's a beautiful interpretation, but it is a foreign doctrine. Okay, because Allah is the husbandman. So if Allah is the husbandman, that means that the mother is not a widow, and the child is not a bastard. We're not Masons. All right. So what is the word that Drew Ali used in his order in place of Mason? He used the word Muslim. And if you are aware, pardon me, if you are aware of the Masonic degrees, right, and how they do their thing, a Mason is made. A master Mason, they say, is made, right, by another. But Drew Ali let us know that Muslims are born, not made. You're born on a square. You're born on the level. You're born perfected. No one can make you over. The only one that could change anything about you is your own liberty of conscience. The God that rules your mind. Right? These are just things that I desire to point out, right? So, getting back to what I was speaking about, right? When you answer up and apply to your, look, I found it. I found it. All right. But again, I have to, certain information, I'm just, right? I was using this. This is a traveler's ID, right? It's based on the principles of your passport because your passport is an national and international traveler's permit, all right? And so they utilize the principle, right? and it has a lot of good information on the card for you to know, But this this ain't it. This ain't it. You know what I mean? It's a good learning tool. It's a great learning tool. But to tell people that this is what they need to be using out in the world and getting these people caught up, mind you, you get caught up trying to do the same with your passport. But at least with your passport, if it's done right, after everything's said and done, and that information is ran and looked at, they'll see, oh well, you know what, this person is, they're private, you know what I mean? Their rights are secured. They can exercise their rights. But with that ID that I just showed you prior, that's not that that's not that does not that is not connected to any state in any part of the union. It's foreign. And mind you, the Moorish Americans, the ones that I made reference to, they will tell you in a heartbeat they're not citizens. Drew Ali called us citizens. They'll tell you they're not a part of the U.S. They're a part of the USA. So they have a lot of this sovereign citizen patriot doctrine mixed in with that which Drew Ali has expressed, and it is causing problems because they're feeding off the hate of people. They're feeding them more hate and ignorance. And then these people are out there running around, at war. They're enemies of the state. They're warring with their government. Pardon me. So, there we go. So, what I have learned, right? Damn, I actually had it up there, but all right, so I'm going to write down on the board, right? No, it's in this one. True. If you're not familiar, this is the DS. DS stands for Department of State. This is the DS-11 form, passport form, right? And you see how these things are numbered, right? And so I'm going to write down, because there's certain things that you need to take. You need to take account for. We'll just put it that way. Okay? So in line number 1, yeah, I'll make it a little bigger. Line number 1, it asks you for the name. The name that it is asking you for is the name that you wish to have on your ID, right? That is this is your assumed name. It's the assumed name. If some of you may have heard of the assumed name certificate, some of you may be aware how supposedly the assumed name certificate works. This is your assumed name. Example. Last name. Last name, first name, middle name. Okay? Davis L. This is the name that I wish to do my business in. This is my free national name. This is my secured statesman name. This is the identity of the creditor. Okay? Number 4, slot number 4, place of birth. When you write down your place of birth, and you enter your state, right? So here goes the key. You use absolutely no abbreviations. Okay? So I wrote Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, USA. This is what I did. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not saying that this is the end all be all, right? I'm just telling you and I'm showing you what I used and I gained success with it, okay? So you can do it another way if you feel that there's another way to do it, okay? I'm not one of those people who want to keep trying to tell you, do it my way or there's no way. Nah, that ain't the move, you know what I'm saying? However, I do recommend that you understand that I have successfully secured my estate by using the process that I'm explaining to you, okay? If someone else's process has proved beneficial and it's more conducive to the way you desire to apply it, then do so. Okay? Absolutely. Mailing address. So this is number 8, right? And I want to show you as well. Number 8, right? City, state, zip code, country, right? So I've already expressed that we don't use any abbreviations, right? And so my state is being identified as my country. So in the slot that says country, I wrote Pennsylvania. Okay. That's right here, right on line number 9, your mailing address and all of that, right? Also, this is what I did, but I realized it's not really necessary, right? But because it was the process that I was following at the time, right? Where it asks for the zip code, I put it in brackets. Okay, I did do that, right? That is up to yourself. Apply it to at your own discretion, right? Now here's an important one right here, very important. Number 9. Number 9, right? Number 9. It says list all other names you have used. Examples: birth name, maiden name, previous marriage, legal name change. So it just told you that a legal name change is totally different from the birth name. Okay? So in here, in slot number 9, what I put, Brandon Eugene Davis. Why? Because I was using that name. This is my assumed name. This is the name. I'm leaving all old business as it is, right? And I'm doing all new business in my assumed name. I've assumed the role of creditor. You heard? All right. So this is where that would go, okay? And so the next thing, I skipped it, but I'll get to it. This is a kicker, right? Because I see so many people being told, don't give the social security number. Okay? Some of you may have been taught or may have heard, don't give them the social. You must understand. And again, I'm going to use myself as an example, right? right? The name, and the number. This is the personal account name. We're dealing with accounts, okay? This, right? Okay? This is the social security number, right? That's the account number. And then on the back, that number on the back of the social security card, right? It's the routing number. It's also known as the QSIP. So if we understand what we're looking at here, this is a financial instrument. This is an account, a financial account. Now, when you're going, this is a claim. Okay? You're making a claim. You're going to the bank, if you will, because this is the private bank. This is the private sector. The public sector, right, is the Federal Reserve. The private sector is the U.S. Treasury, right? Anywho, with this, you're basically going to the private bank and you're saying, I would like to secure my account. In order to secure the account, in order for someone to verify that it is you, you must give them the information. If you don't give them the information, they cannot secure the account. Now, mind you, when I gave them this information, what I received in return I received a real estate account or a secured account with a new secured number, no dashes. Okay? So now I have yet another person. The person that I just shown you was stateless. And so I turned it over to the state, right? And so I'm identified I'm now the redeemer of the personal and the real estate. Okay? I made my claim. This is what we're doing. We're making claims, okay? Everybody talking about how you secure and how you do this and how you do that. There's many processes that I've seen many people do, but getting your passport and understanding what's going on, you can just do it this way, right? And then lastly, so you see what I'm reading, right? It's the Bill of Rights, okay? This is the Constitution. The Constitution is a corporate contract. whether people want to accept it or not. It's the private contracting, okay? And it says, the right of the person to be secure in their persons. We're just going to stop there. To be secure in their persons, all right? The right to be secured in their persons. My personal estate. My real estate. This person secures this person. So, person number one is a debtor. And person number two, who has secured this person, is now the creditor. In court, they get this person and say that person is a defendant, cannot defend itself. A debtor can't defend itself, right? But this person number two acts as the prosecutor. In all of these instances, number two, Davis L., number two, creditor, and number two, prosecutor, these have the most authority. In court, the prosecutor has the highest authority, the most power. Okay? When you're dealing with debts and obligations, the one who is owed a thing has the most power. Okay? And when we're talking about, again, personage, you're a free national or your sovereign state, or basically you as your American citizen, your U.S. citizen who is a part of the U.S. territories, which makes it America, in the Union, has power over this piece of paper. These are two accounts. This is a personal account. This is a real account. This is a public account. This is a private account. Okay? So, and then just to show you as well, right? I always wear my turban, okay? Especially when I'm out in the world, right? This is not cosplay. Some people like to say, oh, y'all cosplay. This is not cosplay. This is me. All right, moving on. We're going back to the DS11 form. Okay. So in the space of, all right, in case none of y'all know this, your mother and father are not U.S. citizens in the manner or in the class of citizenship that's being expressed. Okay? So when I was doing my studies on citizenship and the passport form, I was made aware that there was a time in the past where when you filled out the DS11 form, that it gave you the option to identify as either a U.S. citizen or a state citizen. A state citizen is a U.S. citizen, but it's a citizen of one of the states. Okay? The state or the status of that individual is living. Okay? So what it is, it has been taken, obviously, if you're looking at the passport form, you'll see that it doesn't have that option anymore. It just says, are you a U.S. citizen? All right, so if you mark no, knowing what I just told you, the only other class of U.S. citizen that you could have is that of a state citizen. State means national, okay? So when you hear people talking about national, Moorish national, they're just saying they should be understanding, yeah, I'm a white statesman, you know. I'm a white Republican, if you will. Right? Okay. That's the first thing. And again, if you don't give the birth certificate and the social security number, you're not securing anything at all. Okay? Just understand that, right? So now this part connects with what I just started in the beginning, when I showed you when I wrote down the affidavit, right? So on line number, there we go. On space number 13, it asks you your occupation. Okay? What is your occupation? Moorish Americans are taught in our literature, in our scripture, that we are all priests unto ourselves. So, my job is minister. Right? So my occupation is minister. What's minister short for? Minister of justice, because Jesus means justice. You heard? Okay. And then number 14, it asks you who your employer or school. What is your, So now I put MSTA. Because if you remember in my affidavit, I linked myself to the original organic grand, we'll call it the Grand Major Temple, not any of the branch subsidiaries that are just not operating correctly, right? So now the MSTA acts as both a school and a place of employment in its inception. Okay? Now, mind you, the only one who can ordain you is God. Once you come to know it, it becomes the truth. No Grand Sheikh can ordain you. A Grand Sheikh's purpose is to lead by example, that you learn what you're supposed to do. And then when you're conscious of that, right, then you take on that personality, right? And they acknowledge you. They can't make you what you already are. Our literature also tells us that we are already, the first chapter, we are already full ordained to be the lords of the plane of soul and of things made manifest. So I already have my ordination. I already have it. I don't need to go here. All I need is the literature. Because once I have the literature, I'm in attendance. Okay? Because the temple, you're looking at the temple. This is the temple not made of brick and mortar. This was not made by the hands of man. This was made by the mind of the Most High. You dig? Yeah, please tap the screen and show love. Islam, sister. Happy birthday. Look, hold on.
Islam.
Happy birthday, Islam.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You sound like you're
Downstairs.
still resting, yes?
A little bit. I was up really, really late.
Okay, I'm gonna drop you back down just so that you can. But I
Mm-hmm.
just desired it because I was going to get at you and Sun afterwards.
Islam.
Happy
Peace and
birthday,
love.
love.
Peace and love, that wholeness.
Mm, microphone, camera, expand. Up there we go. And now, if I can, I don't know. I don't know how to. Give me a moment, y'all. We're gonna figure out how to bring this back down. All right, what the hell? It's all good. So, number 13, slot 13. Where did I place it? Slot 13 asks you again what your occupation is if age is 16 years of older. And again, my occupation is minister because the first thing I was placed on this planet to do was to profess the word of the Most High. I am the word of the Most High manifest. We're going to bring somebody up. Please be respectful. I'm here to answer any questions to the best of my ability.
I think you're great. You are pivotal in your timing for me because I'm just about to open up the private account. And it's
Thanks for
funny,
bringing it, brother.
in searching for the private account, I've realized there's a whole slew of people that have been targeting me through fake LinkedIn, and they're about to get smoked by everybody because there's a huge group. One may pretend she was my girlfriend. So this is very important to secure my stuff. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you.
Most appreciated, beloved. I'm just your brother, man.
And I get
Everything
that.
I'm doing, I'm trying to let everybody know they can do the same, beloved.
Right. But we need to, it's good to let people know, though. And I don't think we do it enough.
I appreciate you, family.
Thank you.
All right. You have any questions while you're on before I take you down?
Not right now. Like this is literally, I was going to go the hard route and do my great grandfather, my grandfather, my discharge honorably papers, all the social, and I was going to have a private banker do it the arduous way. But all of a sudden, everything happens when you're ready in divine timing. And I've
Here
had a
we
long
go.
road here to get to
Absolutely.
where the money is irrelevant now. It's the money's an
Right.
access to do what I want to
Because
do.
there is no money, it's credit, and you're
Right.
the creator, so you give it
Right.
the value.
Can I just tell you something real funny about my career in the Air Force? I was a contracting officer, and they don't teach us this in school. They
Right.
don't teach us we're the gatekeepers of the money.
Right.
So, all right, I'll keep quiet. You go.
No, you good. All right. So I appreciate that, beloved. Right. According to whatever your religious, have you been on since the beginning?
No, I got on when you were doing the H, the social, but
Okay.
I'm okay. I'm good.
Okay. So just to let you know, there's a link in my bio to my website, but then there's another one to the YouTube. And on the YouTube, like this broadcast here, will be downloaded to the YouTube once I'm done with it. So the people who missed the beginning will be able to go there, and catch up. Okay, that's just for
Yeah.
yourself to let you know,
No,
beloved.
I appreciate that, and I will do it definitely. Thank you.
All right, I'm
You're
going
an
to drop you
asset.
down,
You are an
beloved.
asset. People got to protect you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you. There we go. Oh, we have another. No, it doesn't show. Oh no, no, do not. All right. So, in closing, if anyone has any questions, please, by all means, if you're able to, invite yourself up, because I'm really not here to be reading the screen. Okay. So, if you've asked any questions in the room, I'm going to assure you that I won't look at them until after the broadcast has been completed. Okay. So if you have any questions and you have the capability or the capacity to go live or come on and be a guest, please by all means. Right. And if there is no more, uh, I'm going to leave you all. There you go. But you coming back up?
I got this. I hit the button. Sorry. Hey, I do have a quick question though.
Okay.
So in doing such, right? And people got to understand that words matter, phonetics
Yes.
matter, and that's the
Yes.
key to all of this. The life is one big paradoxical experiment, and you got to live in fluidity instead of arguing and see the paradox.
Right.
Right. So my question is though, they say the word generational wealth, right? So when you do this, is this going to be the catch-all for the lineage? Because people want to go through the church to follow their family, but we all know, the lineage is in banking. That's where you're going to follow your true bloodline and capture everything. So when you
So
do this, is it going to be extrapolating all the generational wealth or just mine, which is plenty? I'm just
no, it's
curious.
so the understanding is that what you're doing, you're going to teach your children to do as well.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so, because you're another thing of doing this with the passport, becoming a state recognized as not an enemy of the state, but
Yep.
a people of the state, is that you secure your wealth is your estate.
10-4.
All right, and so when you pass on, since your estate has been properly secured and your children have been properly educated,
Yep.
then they'll be able to take your birth certificate and all your other instruments, right?
Yep.
Move it out of probate and make their own claims on it.
Okay, so they're going to still accumulate the interest and all that crap, but they're still tracking and keeping it. And then in the private, we know how that works. You're kind of in your monopoly world, doing good. Outside of the other banking, you're not really, and I get that part of it too. And it was hard to find the actual private because they've been denying private for a year for me. But I understand now why, because I wasn't ready mentally to handle that money. And I might have bought the secret for me. And I go like this: if you want to buy a 2025 M series, I mean, an 8 series convertible, it's 200,000, right? And it doesn't mean you can't get that car when you live like this, but I'm going to buy one with 10,000 miles on it and pay $60,000 for it instead of the 200,000, and people can think what they want. And that's not feeding my ego. That's meeting in the middle of the gray area.
So right. So in the private, we understand that the public has been bankrupt.
Right.
In the private, you are the creditor, which means you are the creator of value.
Right. And debt creates money.
And so, right, and so 1099s and stuff like that, financial and negotiable instruments, understanding that you are the banker and understanding how banking works, you would be able to apply that. I
Yes.
know of people who have utilized their private capacity, right? And they'll tell you, I didn't buy it. They didn't buy it because you can't buy anything, but they utilized the right processes, right, with the
Yeah.
1099s, this, that, and the third, and they were able to acquire through acquisition.
Perfect. Yes.
1099. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Right. Because when we buy our cars and where they're made, and having the contracts. We never get FOB origin, so people don't
Right.
have the title. We
Right.
all have certified copies, and that's still getting securitized, and then they want to fight the whole banking system, but we're not allowed to bank with foreign entities and all that stuff. So they put these avenues in there for us to basically say, oh, well, if we throw a million at them, they're going to love it. And that's their cost of doing business. The car is the cost of doing business. The house, it's all to keep you in ego, to forget about the land, to forget about, and that's the game. And once you have your ego death, the next goal is to get as much as you can, to help as many as you can without picking up a new religion and not changing.
So religion, I'm glad you mentioned that, right?
That just use
So
that sarcastically.
okay, well, so religion sets your commercial status, right?
Yes.
But just as an example, we'll take Christianity. I know that Christianity is a religion, but I know that within Christianity, they've got all kinds of different doctrines, right? The
Yep.
doctrine sets your status.
Correct.
I just wanted to make that known for
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I utilize religion because I know what it is. I'm not religious.
I'm not. I'm conscious.
I'm
Oh,
spiritual,
yes.
meaning that I use my word, and I'm conscious.
Yes, sir.
Religion helped me gave me structure. You see what I'm saying? Like in
I
the
do.
Freemasonry, this was me. I'm entered apprentice right now. Religion is entered apprentice.
Yep.
It's the
I
lowest level. It's helping you stand up.
Yep.
Then
I
you
have.
reach the second level, which is what the fellow of the craft. So now we know that we doing crafts. This is wizardry out here,
Uh-huh.
right? And
Yes.
and the wizard uses what? Their words, their spells. So
Yeah.
this
Oh,
is
yeah.
spirituality,
Ten
right?
four. I always tell almond milk is a spell, folks, because when you squeeze an almond, does milk come out? But they put it
Right,
next to it, and they put that's a spell, and they don't like to
right,
hear it.
right. And then consciousness is the it's the total and complete awareness that in religion you were like this, in spirituality you came up here, right? And then in consciousness you become the high priest.
Yes. Yes. And let me just say this for everyone that's watching is I have listened to my internal mechanism, not my brain. I've listened to my guts and everything, right? I'm half Scottish, half Sicilian, and my lineage comes from there. I'm first generation, right? So I've seen ancestry.com. I got there. I've seen they've been naturalized actually the correct way, my great grandfather. And what I've learned along the way is the only thing I've actually done is establish a debtor secured party relationship and a trust, right? Because I have not signed any of their documents. In my mind, having worked there, I don't have to ask your permission to tell you I'm who I am. You acknowledge me by my disability of the Veterans Administration. I've been walking through this. I've been buying $2,000 cars. They've been taking them. And I say, I'm Dalton from Roadhouse. And you know how that ends, right? And I joke about it. But in my capacity, I have not adhered to any of their paperwork. So I'm not going to ask you permission to be who I am. And in turn, I have always been in this private world and just didn't understand that.
I'm glad you made another point. You said the word trust. So we all hear this. We've read it at some point, right? In God we trust, right? So when you're born, the estate is created. An estate cannot exist without a trust in place, right? So when you're born, you are giving a public estate under a public trust. Okay? That's why when people go to court, right, there is a constructive trust in the public, me.
Yep.
The whole process of what I'm showing you as far as getting your pass, all of this stuff, it does all of this for you, right? So you are now taking what was private because this is your estate person, right? Because we know that the birth certificate is a person. It's
Yep.
an identity on paper, and you're taking it out of the public, which is, well, I'll just name it, the Federal Reserve, right? You're taking it out of the Federal Reserve banking system, right? Debits equal credits, and you're putting it into your own private trust. Because remember, the state is private.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
You feel me? And so
Yeah, I do.
you taking it out of the public by securing it and placing it into the private. Now, instead of dealing with the Federal Reserve banks only, right? You now have the U.S. Treasury specifically associated with your state. And so now you have the intercourse. You're able to transact, right? One way or the other. Because, and for those who understand accounting, we can now understand the equation that debits equal credits.
Yep.
So you're able to take, one side and the other. The Federal Reserve is going to have to deal with the U.S. Treasury. In that sense, you would be dealing with and I'll show y'all this as well. There we go. I make mention of this in my literature.
Okay.
Treasury direct account. Because right now it's in the Federal Reserve account. But when you secure it, it's supposed to go into the Treasury direct account.
And I have a Treasury direct account.
All right, cool. So
I got capital
that's your
liens. I got it all.
proxy. That is your
Okay.
proxy. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Can you can you see it?
Oh, you got to understand. I can see everything, and this was the one. Like, I found all this stealing and this big group last night through a redirect of LinkedIn. They must have hijacked my phone when I went on it because the LinkedIn I would pull up is totally different than the real LinkedIn. And then now, and I was just like, hey, you know what? They're going to take care of it once I tie everything in if they're not already. And then all of a sudden I wake up and I have here, which now opens the door when I talk to my banker tomorrow in Kansas, right? So
Okay.
this is just, and you know this, when you get it, you may know where you need to be, but until you're ready to be there, they're not going to give it to you.
Right.
And I had to
Right.
walk through what I found out last night and just be able to sleep like a baby and just throw it up in the air and walk away from it because it's money that I don't really give a shit about, right? I
Absolutely.
feel violated, but I'm okay with that because here's the thing: if I love me right now, then I can't hate them because they're part of my process for me to be in perfection, and that's how I
Absolutely.
live in forgiveness. And so you came this morning, and now you've tied it all in, and I thank you from the
And
bottom of my
forgive
heart.
us our
Yes, sir.
trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Absolutely.
A- Absolutely.
That's teaching us equity. You got to have clean hands. If
Yes.
you expect it to be done, so in our doctrine, in my Moorish doctrine, it teaches us the golden rule. But the golden rule is said when man honors man,
Yep.
right? That he honors Allah. Man, Allah is the state. All right. Man is the estates, if you will.
Yep.
So it's all about integrity. It's all about, hey, I've got to do equity to get equity. I cannot expect from you anything I don't expect from myself. All right. Let
Yep.
me
Yes.
see. Equity, yes. Equity is the highest. So, and I'm glad someone pressed that because now I'm going to show you. I think I might have did it in the beginning, but just because I have other individuals now coming in, I would like to make this clarified. Right. This is you. Damn. This is you. Okay. You are justice. Okay. Damn, what was I getting at? Oh,
Equity.
huh?
Equity.
Thank you,
I,
thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So this is also Jesus. Now we learn in the story of Jesus, right? We'll do it. Let me do this. All of these are things that go out. All of these are things that go in. All right. So this is Jesus, right? Where did Jesus get stabbed at? In the heart.
Rome, Maryland.
Jesus was pierced in the heart, and the blood, which is the life force, dripped down to the revenuing side. Now, mind you, this is the debtor side. This is the creditor side. The debtor is the one who owes. It's the servant class, right? It's all the this side of the ledger is only telling you about what something can hold for you. This side, this is the human side,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're the liable party. So in court, that's the prosecutor, right? Or the prosecutor, if you understand, right?
Yeah.
Then you have ownership. I own. This is my debtor. This is Brandon Eugene Davis, the birth certificate, the personal estate, the stateless identity. This is Brandon Davis L. I assume this role. Jesus, but I'm just showing you. Jesus was hitting the heart, and the life force dripped down, and everybody. So what we're talking about, we meet Jesus and we meet our Father or our Creator. We meet Him in the heart. So that means that if this is the heart, what we're talking is exclusive or principal equity. All right. Now, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We actually find these five principles, right, in the preamble, right, of the U.S. Constitution. All five of these are principles of equity. We're dealing with equity. Islam, to the Muslims who don't know, just for you all to know, Islam means equity, equitable ownership, standing up and being held accountable and receiving your just due, whatever you owed, nothing more, nothing less. So when we take the boogie woogie out of religion, which is what I'm here to do, we understand that we're dealing with equity here. And equity is found on the right side of the Lord. Again, equity is on this side, on the right side, right? For those of you who understand or who are aware of the story of Christ, when he was strung up with two other people, right? And so the person on this side refused to acknowledge his creditorship, basically. All right. But this guy over here was redeemed. He's on the right side of the Lord. He's on the creditor side. The stories that we see in the Bible are teaching you about business management because Jesus said he was about his father's what? Business. So when we understand business management, which deals with accounting and things of that nature, and and debt collection, right? When we understand that, we can now peel back the veil.
And that's cast your net to the right side of the boat.
Right, it's always to the right. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? Everything is talking about righteousness. Well, this is the left, this is the right, and then just to show you all who. Damn, I keep doing that. I can't really see it. For those of you all who deal with masonry, right, or we'll just say fraternal information, right? A traveler goes from from west to east. He stands up in the east. He's facing the east. He's coming into creditorship because this is debtorship. This is creditorship. Now they act together, right? If you owe, you're over here. If you are owed, you're over here. But we're learning how to be good, integral businessmen, righteous, upright, independent, fearless. That is this is the east that you're traveling to, my friends. Okay, your consciousness, your perception of yourself. In order to complete yourself, you must know that you were once lying down perpendicular, but you have now stood up. That, let me see, this plus that equals the cross. Okay? You perfect yourself by putting them both together and understanding that this is a record of the whole Bible is a record of accounts.
And that's why you put your record in the Bible versus the paperwork, because you're actually writing it as an acknowledged living human, walking in your capacity of what you believe.
Absolutely.
And nothing else matters.
So when we hear the word faith, most people look at it like it's a religious thing. Most people don't realize that, you know, we're looking for full faith and credit on the on the right hand side. Faith and credit. I am the faithful, right? I walk by faith, right? We learn that belief is what you think you know. Okay? That's the beginning, right? Faith is what you know to be true. If you walk in your faith and you don't worry about what's going to happen because you already know, you reach what's called fruition. So you already know what's going to happen. All you have to do is express your faith and you will come into this credit or this creditor status, you know. Perfect yourself. Getting your passport is perfecting yourself. It's bringing your two selves together. You see what I'm saying? Or like credits and debits, it's canceling or equaling them out. You can't just be
Yep.
a creditor and you can't just be a debtor. Because you have some people out there trying to say, well, you know, particularly dealing with passports, they don't want to give the debtor, you know, information. And it's like, well, then you're not perfecting yourself. All
Right.
right,
But I
brother,
think
I'm gonna.
we live in a poor paradigm. And I think that's the big blockage for folks. They think
Uh,
living in service is poverty.
yeah,
And I disagree. The game is being so conscious, nothing matters except living in service, which creates abundance. And your goal is to get at all of it, still live in service, and don't change after you get it and lead by example. Because, like you said, the money's irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter. And once you remove yourself from that, you go from belief to faith. And then,
from
the
faith to
faith,
fruition.
it's not seeing numbers, it's actually walking in your capacity. Faith without works is dead.
There you
So
go.
you have to get your car impounded. You have to do your belief. You have to, and then instead of
Yeah.
arguing with the cops, I've said, hey, I'm going to get you a few cars and I'm buying the fire station a new fire truck as a donation to live with the public and private. Like nothing's a fight with me. It's all about the solution. So if I can't win the battle and it's not worth it, I'm going to live in an equal capacity and show people that not everyone's meant to do this fight, but you're part of the process and you can get a gift from me is what you know what I mean. So I'm
Yeah.
combining both worlds instead of fighting all the time. I've learned just to accept that a lot of people don't understand their capacity of what they're really doing because it's not taught. And then
Absolutely.
you have to treat them as men and women and not their job.
Right.
So as I show them by walking in my capacity, it's going to sway them to ask me questions. So everything's not an argument. And I've apologized to the police for attacking their manhood versus their career.
Right.
And I've done that, and I've had to show them by example. One started to fill up, and I've been here 20 years, and I've got 2 apologies. Thank you, and it meant the world to him. And now
Absolutely.
he's my biggest advocate. So yeah,
You have
Absolutely.
to
I wish you
forgive
lived in
them.
Massachusetts. We would hang out.
Forgive
Hey,
them for they
maybe
know
one
not
day
what they
soon,
do.
beloved.
That's what I say. That's what
I
you're supposed to
appreciate you,
do.
brother. I'm going to drop you down and allow the other individuals who have come up to speak. All right. I honor
All
you,
right,
brother. You're my brother. All right. You hear me?
we all are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Peace and love, brother. All right. I believe I let up Sister Robin first.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
Oh,
I was
pardon,
just
brother Robin. Pardon me.
yeah. It's actually Samuel. That's just my stage name.
Gotcha.
And respect to Robin Williams. I like the
Oh,
guy. So
that's my dude. That's what's up.
yeah, yeah. But no, like what he was saying, like you have to forgive them for they know not what they do. The police,
Absolutely.
they don't know.
They
So you just
don't.
go with them, and then you talk to the judge, and then take care of business, because the
So
judges know what's up.
I'm glad you brought that up. So for the
Yeah, I
Moorish
just learned that
Americans out there,
recently.
right? Just
So
real quick, real
yeah,
quick. For the
go
Moorish
ahead.
Americans out there, a lot of us, particularly those who have learned under Taj Tariq Bey and those people, right? Um,
Hmm.
I know for a fact that when I was coming into this information, these people were telling me that the police officers, they know, they don't know.
They don't. I
They
know.
do not know because they didn't go to school for law.
No, they don't. They don't
So
know. They're
how would they
clueless.
know the law?
Exactly.
But
Because
these
there's like 20
these
different laws, right? It's
these
different types of
judge
law.
surrogates, these
Yeah.
administrative officers, if you will,
Well, they're churches. They're all churches, are they not?
right? And that's
And
why
the hospitals are
I'm
churches.
in church too. And it's like, hey,
Yeah.
you're
508
violating
C1A.
my religious faith by trying
Yeah.
to identify me as the
Amen,
debtor,
brother. Hey,
huh?
we use the same tools right back against them as they use against us. So that's how it works.
Absolutely,
Why
absolutely,
wouldn't? I love it.
absolutely.
508 C1A. Is that what you do? 508
Say this
C1A?
again. What do I do?
508 C1A? Church?
So I haven't
Or
gotten
do you do the
any of that,
501?
bro.
Or
So I haven't done any of that. I'm operating unincorporated at the moment.
well, yeah, I'm right with you. I'm at the same level. I'm like
So
ready to jump on.
I know that the information that my passport, or in this instance my national identification card,
Yeah,
treats of is that I'm a religious private organization.
exactly. They can't mess with
So I
that. That's
already have my tax exemption
hmm
with and
that's
I've used
beautiful.
it. I know it's there. My national ID. I was explaining earlier.
How
My
many
occupation is minister or
how
priest.
many how many stars do you have? Sorry. Yes. Yeah. You did it good.
Yeah, I have sovereign, ministerial, and diplomatic immunity.
You know what happened to me when I went to go get mine?
Hmm.
They made I put my social security number on there, and then I had child support pending, and then they wouldn't give it to me in
Yeah,
Minnesota.
yeah,
When the child support is all surety ship, whatever, I gotta go get dismissed. So it's like, man, yeah.
absolutely, brother Sam. So just for the moment,
I'll let you talk.
brother,
I'm sorry. I'm
no, you're
excited.
good, brother Gordon.
Hey, how you doing?
Peaceful greetings, love.
A quick question. I'm not sure if this is the right venue, but a lot of people who get a trust, they get it registered in a foreign country, a non-Hague foreign country, if I'm correct. Do you know what the benefit of that is?
Yes, and I'm glad you said that. See, I got it all for you. Here, let me show you something. So the purpose, let me just show y'all first and foremost, right? I got this authenticated, right? People are authenticating or apostilling, whatever, right? Because they wish to be foreign. They wish to do foreign business. When you're authenticating your birth certificate in a non-Hague country, it's because the non-Hague country doesn't follow UCC.
Okay.
All right. Everyone that follows UCC, there's a uniform law of commerce. That's
Okay.
everyone. So the idea that people are like the idea that was expressed to me, which caused me to do this here, they were like, yeah, man, you're foreign to the United States, whoopty whoopty whoop, right? And the full faith and credit, whoopty whoopty whoop of the United States. And all right. But that only applies to somewhere. I would only have to do this where the United States is not recognized, or the way that they do business is not recognized. We'll say like
Professor.
Taiwan. Taiwan doesn't follow the same commercial procedures, and so there has to be some way to make sure that the full faith and credit of the USA can be revenued according to, we'll say, Taiwan. Now, if I go to, say, New York, me being in Pennsylvania, I wouldn't have to authenticate this because it's all uniform. So what I'm saying is that unless you're going to go do business in Taiwan, brother, that's this, and again, this is just my understanding, right? If you're not doing business in there, there's no need to do this. It doesn't take you out of the United States.
Okay.
It's just telling you, hey, now you can do business in a non-Hague area, right? That's what it is. If I go to Taiwan and I want to purchase something or I want to push something up, they have to make sure that my bond, my security instrument, right, is good.
Okay.
That's what you're doing. You're telling them I'm good. You've secured it for them. It's already secured everywhere else that uses the uniform the law of merchant, the merchant law.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Common law, right? It's common law.
Right. Yeah. Common law, right?
Yeah.
So if the area doesn't deal with common law, you would apostille or authentic, whatever. You know what I mean? You would do that, so that you can make the ground level. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be able to, have some type of exchange outside of the UCC and still each side be secure because they're using a different financial institution, if you will, than the UCC. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Than what everyone else is using.
Thank you. And if I could ask you one more quick question. I'm pretty much alone in this process. It's very difficult for me to authenticate my birth certificate, to know all the process and everything to become private. What would you recommend my best way of going about it to get the process rolling and to really understand it?
I would tell you to declare your state citizenship to the before the constitutional government in which you live, brother. Get your passport. But this whole broadcast is touching on exactly what you're talking about, brother.
Okay.
I'm explaining to people that there are so many different processes that are being offered to do this. And then once you do this, come back and then do that. Right?
Right.
I was taught by a man who was around in the early 1900s. And he taught me a process where it just goes right to the heart, gets it done. If you understand what the passport is, that it's more than a passport. If you understand the process that you're going through, that you're applying, you will realize that you were securing your estate. You are taking it out of the public and putting it into the private. And then you are allowing your fiduciaries, your administrators, to properly administrate. Now you can hold them accountable because you have the status,
Can I ask a
right?
question?
Your passport is also a national identity document or a state document. And the people of the nation or the people of the state, they're the investors. They are the insurers. They are the equitable owners.
Okay.
This is you. And so when you perfect your claim, because getting your passport, you're making a claim. You are making a claim on property, right? When you do that, you secure yourself, you satisfy. It's in accordance to satisfaction. You do all of that just understanding what you're doing when you get your passport. And then the things that you're saying, the way that you desire to operate, you can now operate in that capacity.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay? You are, when you get your passport, you are recognized as a dues paying, card carrying member of the union. You pay your dues 10 years up in advance every time it expires and you refile. You're paying your dues.
Just your regular passport.
Yeah, because again, it's more than just a passport. Most of us are taught to just look and see what's on there and accept it by ear. I know that on my passport card and my book, the word nationality is on there too. So that now
Okay.
makes my passport card a nationality card. I'm a state national. I'm a statesman. So it acknowledges me as basically I'm. When you get your passport, you're saying that I'm Emmanuel. I'm God in man.
Okay.
All
Thank you.
right. You're most welcome, family. And if you wish, I have a website. And it's the link is in my profile, right? By all means, please take a look at it. Look at it all because I'm doing my best to just shovel this information so that the people can see. It's like, yo, according to how I've been inspired.
Thanks for giving back.
The only way we can keep it is by giving it away, beloved.
That's right, my man. Thank you.
Most welcome. Most welcome. Brother Tulos. Brother Dunn Jr., you there? Okay, then we're just one more time. Brother Tulos Dunn Jr., are you there? All right, we're going to disconnect. Brother Gordon, I'm going to let you down as well.
Thank you.
Brother Sam, you still have anything else before I let you down?
Yeah. I just wanted to say about the passport deal. I've heard of like once you get your passport, you're like your state ID. You leave that shit at home because like you can get in
Yeah,
big
I don't
trouble
right
if
because
both
private
of
and
them,
public
right?
don't mix.
Yeah.
Let
That's
me
all I
let
wanted
me
to
let
say.
me let me 1 second. I would
I'll
like
go
to.
down.
Jesus
You
is
got
King.
5
Are you
spots
willing to
yet?
cut? 1 second. Jesus is King. Are you
Okay.
willing to come up on the feed and say that? So I'm just gonna state what's said. When you do that, you are still under the government. It's just a different phase. It's ignorant. So you must be one of those individuals, Jesus is King, who are against the government. The government is supposed to be you and your family. Just because there are people in the government you didn't put there doesn't mean that the government's wrong. It means the people in the office are wrong. And the only way that you can correct it is by putting the right people in there.
Amen.
So, yeah, I just desire to, respond to the ignorance of those on here. But I'm going to leave it at that. Go ahead, Blood.
There's several different ways to do these things,
Yes.
that's the thing of it, and you just got to find what works for you best. Everybody has a
Right.
different, end goal.
Right.
You know, some people
Like
want
I
to buy a
said in the
bunch of stuff.
beginning,
You know,
like I made mention of in the beginning of this, I'm only showing the process by which I found my own salvation. I'm not saying that this is the only way. Right?
amen.
I've tried
Yeah,
many different processes before I found this one.
I'm with you, brother. I'm what you're talking about is exactly what I'm on right now. I've been down on other roads, and yeah, there's a lot of dead ends and false
Yeah.
information out there on
But
purpose.
I'm also taught in my literature that the man is strengthened. We are perfected by the trials and tribulations that we go through in the soul plane and in the flesh, right? It is through
We have to.
experiencing these things, of receiving certain replies. I now know this way leads to a dead end. So now I
We
can
had to.
tell you who's coming
Yeah,
behind me on the path, yo, don't go that way.
dude, you're my new best friend. You're talking. You're taking my. Can I have my brain back?
Well, that's
You're
that's
talking
another
just like
thing,
me.
because to be connected in consciousness that's the goal.
There's no distance. There's no
None.
distance.
Right.
It's
The observer and the
yep.
object being observed.
Yes, sir.
Right? Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
you're on the right path. You rock.
Absolutely, brother.
I like your path.
I appreciate you as well. Peace and love to Smokey as well. Islam to the Bays. Loving you all. Right. I'm going to go ahead now. I have some things that I have to deal with. Thank you all for the love. Again, you can check this, playback on my YouTube channel, link in bio, Professor Brandon Davis Ali. Right. Y'all go ahead, take that up, look that up. I appreciate you all. I'm just your brother, man. Come to show you the way to the oneness of soul. With that, may equity be upon you all. And wa alaykum
Yeah.
assalam wa rahmatullah to you all as well. All right. You
Thanks,
all
man.
take care.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate what
Most
you're doing.
welcome. Most welcome.